this is Greg Bissonette from the David Lee Roth Band and surviving drummer for Spinal Tap. You're listening to the only podcast that broke down the entire Van Halen discography and is now moving on to the solo catalogs. And the podcast will rock.
Hey, welcome back, all you rockers, rockettes, and everything in between. Dig that new intro, huh? Because it might be new, but it's the same old crew here at And the Podcast Will Rock. That's right. Welcome back to the show after an extensive break, and after phase one has come to an end. It is now phase two, which means by Kevin Brown standards, we are in season 37. I am your co-host, Mark Kamier. With me, as always, because we couldn't do this without him, is the one and only Corey Morissette. And Corey, it's fair to say that you are riding a very big high from a recent concert excavation, wouldn't you say?
If you couldn't tell from what I'm wearing my the Other Side t-shirt, Anthony Hagar t-shirt. I got my Best of All Worlds cap on. I got my Best of All Worlds poster back there. Not the signed one because that was $300, but I got the standard one. And right kitty corner to that, I actually did get a Michael Anthony autograph picture with a pick and a stage worn bass string or stage played bass string. So.
You left that one out.
Holy hell.
Conversation.
Did I spend way too much fucking money? I don't even care. But it benefited you too, my friend, because I remember not that long ago, Mark Kamier, on a show, you were talking about the beer koozie that you had lost and you're so very sad. Well, my friend, this is coming your way very soon. It's a Sammy Hagar Best of All Worlds beer koozie just for you. I couldn't not go and not pick you up something. The Bogus Otis boys say hi. I met up with them. They were actually handing out Red Rocker Brew coupons before the gates were open. We had just got off the train, and I saw the guys, got a picture with them, got to meet them. It was absolutely amazing. If you don't mind, Mark, I might just go right into my review.
Go right ahead, man.
Show.
Everyone's dying to hear it, I'm sure.
First of all, I was fucking exhausted because that whole day, we decided we're not going to drive through downtown Toronto. We're going to be smart. We're going to take the train everywhere. So we stayed at an airport, We stayed at the hotel near the airport, took the free shuttle from the hotel to the airport, hopped one train to get us to downtown Toronto. We did the CN Tower that day. We did the aquarium. We went and had supper at Rogers Center Grill, which is at the Rogers Center where the Blue Jays play. You can see my Blue Jays popcorn bucket. Went and saw a game there too. And then we hopped another train to get us to Budweiser stage. Walked way too fucking long from the train station to the venue. Got to meet up with Darren and Brent from the Bogus Otis show. They're having an amazing time. Great guys. Really small. Brent Kennard, really, really small. He's very Kevin Brown, Hobbit-esque, actually. I was sitting there thinking, who's taller? Is it Kevin or is it Brent?
I'm not quite sure. That just, further proof that Corey and I have yet to have like a face-to-face in-person meeting, and now I don't think that's ever going to happen. Because you're just going to throw that out there.
Hey, if you're a strapping 5'2", you eclipse Kevin Brown and Brent Kennard. I'm just saying.
I mean, I'm 5'7" on a good day.
There you go.
But so
you're gonna look like Will Chamberlain next to those two. Anyway, I got to say, by the way, Red Rocker beer, really, really good. If you're going to a venue where they're selling the Red Rocker brew, go get yourself one. I was very lucky in that I bought.
What kind of beer would you say is it more like? Is it like a Pilsner or like
it's an ale,
an amber? It's an ale. Okay,
yeah, it's an ale. And I was very lucky because I bought two, one for me, one for my wife. She didn't like it, so I got both. So I had a great time because I got both beer. I wish I could have brought the cans home, but they kind of frown on that when you're flying if you're bringing beer cans home because we can't get it in Saskatchewan yet. I'm really kind of hoping someday, but they finally let us in. By the way, Budweiser stage in Toronto, amazing venue. If you watch a lot of Van Halen videos on YouTube, If you watch the 95 Balance show from Toronto, it was at Budweiser stage. That stage, I believe, was pretty new back then. Mike Reno from Loverboy said actually they're going to go and renovate it again here coming up. So this is one of the final shows, big rock shows, that'll be at this version of Budweiser stage. But it's a big outdoor amphitheater. So I went and I found my merch stand, bought, $300, $400, $500 worth of merch. I don't even remember. Had a great time doing that. And then the rain came. And our seats were just outside the roof. So I got very, very wet. And I was pretty miserable. But then Loverboy took the stage. And I tell you what, I know everybody likes to knock on Loverboy because Mike Reno's got a bit of a gut. He looks like me. Big flowing white hair, big gut. Fuck, that boy can still sing, though. Like, he was belting them out like nothing.
That's why I kept hearing that Loverboy still puts on a really good show. So it was like, the hell with what they look like. Do they sound good? That's the important part.
Yeah, and the band was tight. Like,
yeah.
They only did 8 songs, but, all the hits were there. The Kid Is Hot Tonight, loving every minute of it. Of course, Working for the Weekend was the big finale. I love how they introed it, too, because Mike Reno's like, our drummer was, fucking around Toronto all day, and he picked up this new instrument. He wanted to try it out for this song. And then he hit the cowbell, doom, 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 boom, into Working for the Weekend, and whole place erupted. But Mike Reno said this is by far the loudest crowd we've played to so far on the Sammy tour. One thing about Toronto, I've never been to Toronto, a concert before, 15,000 plus, sing and dance and having the time of their life. They were just there to have a great fucking great time. And and the band could tell, like, just the energy coming back from the crowd, they loved it. So Loverboy's done. By the way, Loverboy has no merch for fat guys. That's a problem, Mike Reno, because you're a fellow fat guy. Why can't I get a 3X shirt for Loverboy?
Yeah,
my wife got a good one. Nothing for me.
Makes them for the thick boys.
Exactly. Come on.
Shirts.
I didn't know if Sammy would, but he had a few different designs on 3X, and I think I got them all. And there was bootleg merchers at the show. I never come across that in my life. They don't have that here in Saskatchewan. But before you actually get into the venue, there was bootleg merchandise. I'm like, my God, I'm in a big city concert for the first time in my life. This was so cool.
We don't get many of those down here, so that's a rare sighting, I think. Well, I guess maybe it's not, but wow, okay.
All right, so short turnaround. All of a sudden, you see the video play. The whole band comes out, and the roar that greeted them was just enormous. And then you hear "Hello, babe," and the whole place just goes fucking apeshit. And they break into Good Enough, which was just amazing. And then Satch picks up the drill. They do Pound Cake. By the time Runaround hit, I found myself sitting there tearing up like a fucking schoolgirl watching Twilight. Just like, I can't believe I am fucking here tonight listening to one of my favorite songs of all time, sung by half of Van Halen and arguably the greatest guitar player living today and one of the greatest drummers living today. Fucking unreal.
Oh, without question.
Oh, loved it so much. Then they go into There's Only One Way to Rock, and then Sammy gets out there and says, all right, we're going to go back to 1986 or 1987. I can't remember. I tend to drink a lot. And then they play Judgment Day to show you how much Sammy drinks. Judgment Day was released in 91. So he didn't even know.
It's like he's way off.
Yeah, he was way off, but it was hilarious. And then I told you this Murderer's Row of 6 songs they do after Judgment Day. Panama, which I fucking was hopping up and down, singing at the top of my lungs. My kids were so embarrassed, I didn't even care. Panama, 5150, Summer Nights, Ain't Talking About Love with Mike Anthony, fucking crushing it on vocals, Top of the World, and Best of Both Worlds. That was like this 6-song stretch that was just unbelievable. Like, my knees were weak. And then you get the guitar solo, Satch Boogie, which was great. Seventh Seal, which I was thinking of you, my friend, because I know how much you love that song, and Christy too, thinking, man, if they were here, because they play actually clips of the movie on the screen while they're doing that song. They play the Monk intro. Fun. But Sammy was singing that thing like it was 1995. This is a 73-year-old man just howling and screaming like
who
it was
drinks a lot, apparently.
Who drinks a lot. And
we know that.
He shouted out the Bogus Otis boys from the stage.
Woo!
Because
kudos.
Yeah, he takes a couple of breaks, and he was doing one where he was taking a drink. He said, I asked my friends at the Bogus Otis show, and I said, how much beer should I bring for the people of Toronto? And they said, a lot. So then I asked, how much tequila should I bring for the people of Toronto? And they said, a lot. Like, he had beer and tequila fucking everywhere. It was absolutely amazing. And then you get Right Now, Why Can't This Be Love? Kind of a pumped up Eagles Fly. And then they played Mas Tequila, which is now my kid's favorite song. Like, Dad, play Mas Tequila again. That was their favorite part of the show. Heavy Metal, I Can't Drive 55. Then they go into the medley, Space Station number 5 from Montrose. Bigfoot, which is one of my favorite Chickenfoot songs. They've been kind of alternating, oh yeah, and Bigfoot. They've been doing Bigfoot lately. I was really happy to hear that one. Into Jump, where Sammy even said, we got to play it for you. We're doing this one just for you, Toronto. Like, I'm not a fan of it, but fuck, we got to do it. We're doing it for you. And then they closed with When It's Love. And it was one of the best nights of my life.
He's got to get a shot in there, of course.
a little bit, just a little. Just the tip of the knife and turn a little bit. But you know what?
But I love it.
No surprises in the set. No special guests. We were hoping, I think I mentioned on the Regarding show that, Def Leppard was playing close to there. Green Day was actually in between Def Leppard and the Sammy Hagar show. And actually Trey Cool from Green Day was there because you could see him in the crowd. He was backstage before the show. Never came up and played anything, though. But one thing I thought was kind of cool was, they do like the pre-show prayer and the breakdown.
Mm-hmm.
For the breakdown, they did Closer to the Heart. So it was 1, 2, 3, Closer to the Heart, and they hit the high note, and that's what they broke their little breakdown on, which I thought was kind of cool. So one of the best shows I've ever seen, one of the best nights of my life. Made up for the 15,000 steps I put on walking to and from train stations and the 4 hours of travel to get there and back. Totally worth it. Absolutely amazing. Sorry that went on a little too long, but I had the best time.
No, absolutely. You painted a very colorful portrait, and I appreciated it. So that's because this guy's not going to be able to probably get a chance to see this tour. So, every detail matters. Every detail counts. I'm so happy that you got to experience that, because that sounds like a killer time. Rain be damned. And again, shout out to our friends in the Bogus Otis show. Like, that's so cool. That's very, very cool. So yeah, there you go. Everyone join me in jealousy to Corey Morissette's his journey recently, his concert experience. That is something wondrous to behold. I positive. So all right. Well, there you go. There's Corey's concert experience. And now, as you guys have realized at this point, if you're listening on the audio, shout out to our patrons who are in the chat. What's up? If you want to join the chat, join the Patreon. You know how it goes. I'm going to remind you later. But, Corey, we're going to do things a little different this time around, since we're in phase 2, and we want to keep things fresh, different, not to get too stale. So how about you run down what this new 3-star system is we got coming up?
We got quite a few new things here going for season 4. First of all, I want to address the seasons, because our old buddy False Premise was giving us shit again on Twitter, saying if there's no like a character arc, you can't have seasons, which is maybe the dumbest thing I heard, because we've had 117 seasons of Survivor, and there's no character development on that show.
No one, like, there's no character development on practically any reality show that has multiple seasons. Like, do you think the Kardashians developed? Come on.
But for us, I'll explain the season. So at first we did it by year. So we do 52 shows. That was season 1. The next 52 was season 2. Season 3 is a bit shorter because we ended up on show 145. So for now, a season for us is going to be a wheel, because we're adding 4 albums on the wheel for each season. So this is technically season 4. We'll get through these 4 albums. Then we'll do another 4 albums. That'll be season 5. So that's what we're doing season-wise. You've already heard the new intro. Thank you to Greg Bissonette for recording that for us. We also have a new voting system, though, because we've moved away from the Van Halen catalog and we're moving towards the solo catalog. So here's the new voting system, folks. If we're giving it a thumbs up, you are going to hear obviously, right? I mean, that's a no-brainer. And if it gets a down vote, you're going to hear oh, poor Dick getting knocked in the dirt. So it's just like Paradise or Dick in the dirt. Well, I want
as fitting.
Dan Papadopoulos in the chat here says, Corey, sounds like you had a similar time to when I saw the last Kick show last September. Kicks is quite the band. I remember watching their document. I had Blow My Fuse when I was a kid, but I remember watching their documentary on Netflix, and it was a really, really entertaining documentary. So if that was you at the Kick show, my friend, I hope you had a blast, because yeah, it sounds like Kicks is done. I just want to shout out Dan, one of our newest patrons. I'm glad he's in the chat here tonight. I won't talk about how we thought Pat Henkin was dead, and he's not. So I won't bring that up at all. Don't worry, my friend. So that's our new voting system. We also have a new contest we're running on And the Podcast Will Rock this season. So this is what we're going to do.
Yeah.
In seasons past, Mark would first he started reading all the tweets that we got on a particular show. And then that got to be quite a lot. So then we thought, we're going to make this a value add for our beloved patrons. We'll read their tweets to a specific show. And then we did that. And then we added the manifestos that they would put on the Discord server. And poor Mark was blowing his voice out before we even got to the song, because that's a good 40, 50 minutes of reading right there. So we thought, how can we keep the entertainment value up there, but maybe lessen the reading for him? So we're introducing a new segment this year called 3 Stars. And first of all, I was telling Kevin Brown I want to do something similar to this. And then he went and stole my idea and put it on his Queen show where they read the top 5 tweets, which is like something we were going to do. So I have to outdo him because he fucking stole my idea again. Like, come up with something
Damn
original.
it, Kevin.
Oh my goodness. Anyway, so we're doing 3 stars. Before recording every Wednesday night, Mark and I are going to go through every single comment, not only on Twitter, but on Facebook and on YouTube as well. That's right, all of our dear YouTubers, almost 700 strong right now. You can comment on a specific show. We're going to look at your comments as well. Mark and I are going to decide on the top 3. Which one is number 1? Which one is number 2? Which one is number 3? And then we're going to list them as our 3 stars of the week. And we're going to assign point values to that. So if you get the 3rd star of the week, you get 1 point. You get the 2nd star of the week, you get 2 points. And if you get the 1st star of the week, you get 3. And we're going to keep track all throughout this season, 48 episodes, of who is getting the 3-star tweets. Whoever gets the highest number at the end of the season, we're going to send you a little something from the And the Podcast Will Rock merch store. So you better make your tweets entertaining and fun. We're keeping track this year, folks. And if you get enough stars on you, then we might be sending you something cool from the merch store. So just a little something to show we love and care for our audience, unlike the Seaside Pod Review guys who just wanted to stop reading tweets and they just pick 5 at random. We actually got a system to ours, and there's a little reward at the end too.
And I should point out that does not mean to write longer.
No.
In fact, it's probably better for your points that you don't write as long, and you be very clear and precise and to the point, and for my benefit, make it entertaining and funny, because that one's, if you make me laugh with what you say, chances are I'm be like, that's the one, that's my favorite. So think about that. It's like, it's not always the time it takes. It's what you do when you get to the destination, man. And
you know what? If you throw some Kevin Brown slander in there, that can't hurt you. I might be awarding points just based on that. So take
if
that.
If you want Corey's vote, then just go ahead and just take shots at Kevin Brown when you're doing your little your tweets or manifestos, if you were.
It's that easy. Just Kevin's a midget. I love Decadence Dance. That's all you got to put. You're getting the number 1 star that week.
little person, but
sorry, yes, little person.
No shade to my fellow short kings out there. So Kevin, I got you until you come in and say something ridiculous, and then I don't got you no more. But we love Kev. So be on the lookout for that, you guys, or just be on have your wits about you when putting in a comment or a tweet or wherever, all those places that Corey mentioned, like the Facebook, the YouTube page, or the Twitter. Those are going to be your big 3 that we look for and that we read off. So the new 3-star system. Yeah. How very Canadian of him to incorporate some little hockey elements into it. I'm not mad about it. That being said, I guess now is ordinarily where I would go to our Twitter and our Discord and read off the aforementioned manifestos about a particular song. We wanted to go in there and check out what you guys had to say about our farewell, our send-off show, the wrap-up, if you will. And guess what I found, Corey?
What's that?
Nobody said anything. Nobody said anything.
What?
Not on Twitter. There was nothing at all. Facebook, nothing. It was more like great show, you guys. Looking forward to more. It's like, okay, but it was nothing profound, nothing like what we're usually used to. But I did head over to the YouTube channel and check out what the comments were for the wrap up show. And we had 6 comments. So I figured go ahead and read those out. These aren't necessarily our patrons exclusively, but they're some comments. So there's only 6 of them, so I'm going to read them. So starting with at the Borg, or the Berg, however that's said, says, man, I wish I discovered this show 3 years ago. Loving all the past episodes, though. Thank you so much, the Berg. Whatever your name be, please keep listening. Tell us your name so that when I spot you, I can be like, hey, shout out too. And thank you for listening. Keep on listening. If you've only just now discovered us, then you've got plenty to go through, and then you'll get caught up and join us in the now. And we would love to have you. At Turd Ferguson 290, love it. They say, great wrap up, y'all. I hate I came across you all so late in the podcast history, but anyway, and that's why I do my channel. When y'all are ready to listen to Al's drum parts, they're always very musical and based off Eddie's little licks and of course the main guitar riffs. He's not just bashing straight ahead and spinning sticks. In my honest opinion, he is playing. His playing was the show. Regards. And so we got a drummer. Turd Ferguson is a drummer, and he is very much into Alex Van Halen. Awesome. That's great. I love that. And you'll know through the journey of this show in this iteration prior, my love for Alex grew because I had a very not great impression of Alex's playing in the early days until Corey's perspective and the analyzations of the songs really changed my tune, so to speak. So that was a lovely discovery, one of many for this show. So I hope you like that. At JadaKid6942 says, Mammoth Wolfgang Van Halen, You're to Blame needs to go on that new wheel. Do we have You're to Blame on the new wheel, Corey?
We do. That was from the first record, so it is on there.
Well, there you go, Jada Kid. Be on the lookout for that. Who knows? We might even spin it really soon.
That's right.
Our favorite troll, Eddie Van Trollen. I feel like he's one of yous. He's one of yous out there. Like you're trolling us in a hilarious way, but I'll figure out your identity soon enough. But they say for my ultimate Van Halen set list, I would play Jump with a killer guitar riff replacing the synths. Maybe even play that to open the show. That's a choice. Yeah. He goes on to say Blasphemy 5150 is ahead of Women and Children First and Van Halen 2. So he's referring to how we ranked the albums, how we personally ranked them, and was not happy with the consensus, apparently. Do I think 5150 belongs ahead of Van Halen 2 and Women and Children First? I agree with half of that.
As do I.
I don't agree. I'll give you a guess as to which half I'm talking about. But Corey knows. Corey and I would agree. We love 5150, and this show really... made that love grow, but it can't be above Van Halen 2. It can't. I'm sorry. It's awesome though. It's great and I love it. But it just kind of can't. So those are the YouTube comments, and then head over to the Discord, and I didn't see one, but then somebody snuck in and managed to get one last manifesto. And it is Scott Monroe, the manifesto magister extraordinaire, or maestro, manifesto maestro. There we go.
Magistrate. That's more of a legal thing.
Magistrate.
I like maestro.
Yeah. I don't know why I said magistrate. That's weird.
The manifesto maestro, Scott Monroe. I like that. New T-shirt, Kevin Brown, manifesto maestro.
There it is.
Yep.
The 3 M's. But Scott says the wrap-up show was awesome and the extra song rankings were satisfactory in every sense.
Yes.
I think you guys ranked and sliced and diced and the catalog every possible way. And Jeff Brewer says ditto. So there you go. That's what everyone had to say. My theory is nobody wanted to comment on the wrap-up show because they were too sad. They were too sad to say anything because I can't believe the journey's over. Only part of it.
You know what?
Now we're moving forward.
It's funny you should say that because that's exactly what Scott Everett said in the chat here tonight. We didn't want to say anything because it was too sad to realize it was over.
Aw. Well, there you go. So, turn the frown upside down, Scott Everett, because we're back at it. We're back in the saddle again.
Yes.
And no, I'm not talking about the Aerosmith show. That one's done. Corey did that one.
I did part of it.
You did part of it.
Yeah.
So close enough. That still counts. So now, Corey, we can't really. Well, I guess we can. I guess it's time for our other favorite thing that we used to love to do on the show, and I think we should carry it out on this iteration. And that is, what is it, ladies and gentlemen? Manifestations.
Manifestations. Everybody, take a drink.
And good goddamn, I don't even know what to manifest for this wheel because it's just there's so much to choose from.
Well, let's take a look at it. There's the wheel.
Yeah,
for
yeah. Look
season
at this.
4, 48 tracks on that mother. Right now, I think I have them ranked just alphabetically right now. Yeah, they're just.
And there's a lot.
Right
this is the wheel that's gonna fill in a lot of gaps in my musical knowledge because I didn't pay attention to a lot of the solo albums. Wasn't on purpose. That's just the way it went. So there's a lot of songs that I'm not familiar with from either side, and then this is going to be pretty damn fresh, I would say. So the reactions you get from this point on will be pretty like cold reactions for the most part, with the exception of a few. And then whenever we spin Mammoth, it's like, well, okay, I know that one because that one's more recent. But yeah, so just to give you guys some excitement or to frustrate you, because it seems like if I didn't know a particular song too well in the other wheel, you guys got real mad at me. So,
there's gonna be a lot of first time listens, especially on the Sammy record. I don't know about you, Mark, but I haven't really spun Marching to Mars that much. So there's gonna be a lot of first time listens for me. Obviously, I know Eat 'Em and Smile pretty well. I know Pornography pretty well, and I know Mammoth WVH pretty well. So I'll kick off before we get into the Manifestos channel on the Discord.
Sure.
Me personally, to steal a phrase from fucking YouTubers gone by, me personally, I'm hoping to get a Sammy track. I'm wearing all my Sammy gear. So I want something from Marching to Mars. How about the Yogi So High bracket, I'm stoned bracket? Let's go for that one tonight. Because I've never heard that song, but it sounds fucking cool.
There you go. All right. Well, there. Yeah, heading over to the Discord to the manifestations, there was a lot. This was the one you guys were looking forward to. You didn't want to talk about the wrap-up show, but you're like, let's manifest some shit. And going over here.
While you're looking for
Ladies
that,
Night in Buffalo. There we go.
Okay.
From our new patron Chad, or old but new patron Chad.
Yes.
He wants Ladies Night in Buffalo. He said it's been stuck in my head for a few days. So he wants to manifest that.
Wouldn't be mad at that.
Jeff Brewer wants, Jeff Brewer wants Get the Funk Out. Classic extreme, good stuff there. Scott Monroe wants Decadent Dance.
Nice.
Or Decadence Dance.
Yes.
That would be fun to do. Old Chaz Mataz wants Going Crazy or Loco de Color, or Calor, however you say that. Loco de Calor?
It's the Spanish version of Going Crazy.
Yeah, or Loco de Calor. Okay, I can't. My Spanish is horrible. So
we learn French up here. I can't help you.
It's like my French is terrible too, which sucks because I'm French. French Canadian, as a matter of fact, as it turns out. The aforementioned ever popular Kevin Brown wants Bump and Grind just to, get it out of the way early.
Typical.
I think you're lying. I think you just really want to bop it. That's
exactly
that's what I think.
Yes. You see through his
Davey
lies.
Lee
Good
Smith
one.
wants, yeah, exactly. Davey Lee Smith wants Big Trouble. And let's see here. Brad Gould wants Little White Lie.
All right.
That would be a good one to do there.
Another Sammy too.
Our new patron, relatively new, Torben wants Don't Back Down. Now, is that which Don't Back Down?
That's Wolfie. Yep, that's Wolfie.
Well, okay.
Yep.
I just wanted to make sure that. All right, cool. Yeah. I would not be mad about that one either. Josh wants Epiphany. Also wouldn't be mad. Dave Lassiter wants Mr. Ed.
Yes. He put that in the chat
or
here.
You want like clips of the show?
No, he just wants a talking horse. That's all he wants. No, he even put it in our YouTube chat here. And we have another one here. Dan Papathopoulos joining us in the chat for the first time says, "Here comes my first ever manifestation. We need to get this new era off on the right foot. And this is my only chance to call my shot on my first attempt." He manifests Yankee Rose. So he's hoping for a David Lee Roth tune here tonight. Yankee Rose. That would be a really cool way to kick off season 4, I think.
It would be. And you took my manifestation, you son of a bitch. But no,
you can
but kudos, Dan. I'm still gonna. Spoiler alert. Tom Armbruster wants "Marching to Mars." I got that riff stuck in my head for a couple of days once. So you mentioned "Marching to Mars," which is completely not on my radar whatsoever. I have no idea what to expect, but Tom seems to think that would be a great way to start it off. And finally, the Cult of Jib. I remember getting the guitar book for Marching to Mars to learn how to play that song. Surprisingly, it's really simple. So I'm going to assume Cult of Jib also wants Marching to Mars. So, but like I said, for me, just to, set it off right, I'm going to agree with Dan there. And let's just do Yankee Rose. Maybe people don't want us to spin that one so early, but I don't know. We got to kick this thing off like swinging, full swing. And I think that's a good one to do. So how about you, Corey?
No, I agree totally. That would be a good one. I'm going to stick with mine, hoping for the Yogi So High, I'm Stoned.
Oh, that's right. That's right. You did, yeah.
Josh in the chat, though, was wondering, is there any prize for calling the shot tonight? Should we send, if somebody magically, got a 1 in 48 shot, if they call their shot here tonight, should we send them like a fridge magnet or something?
No, remember, you got to get like, if you get 5, we send you a gift. Maybe if you get 3 this time, in a consecutive number of episodes, then maybe we'll do something there. But
there you go, Josh.
We'll keep track. We'll try to keep track.
Thief of Joy Markemeyer has said no to you getting any sort of special thing if you call your shot here tonight.
Well, not right off the bat. I mean, like, that would be like a big kudos. And like I said, we'll make a note of it if it happens, whoever calls their shot, and like, hey, remember who called their shot on our return episode is so-and-so. So maybe you'll get lucky, and then maybe that luck will keep carrying on, and then you'll get the prize. There
you go. All right. Well, we have 9 viewers, 9 times. 9 people are currently watching on as we record this. So I'm going to shuffle this sucker 9 times. Everyone can see I'm doing this by the book. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All right. We thought it's a new year. We should have a new wheel spinning song as well. We're retiring runaround. Mark Kamara, if you're ready.
I'm ready.
I'm ready as well. Sammy's ready. He's still going to sing the song. We're going to spin the wheel to Here We Go. Oh, not Chaz. No. Oh, good. Chaz almost called a shot. We were so close to going crazy. We're getting distance from Mammoth WVH, which is a big song, obviously. It's a song Wolfie wrote about his dad, the loss of his father. Yeah. So kind of a melancholy start to season 4, but kind of appropriate, too, in a way.
I think it is appropriate. I think that's a gift from the gods, so to speak, the rock gods sending us a message. But I also want it. It's just like, I'm still laughing that you actively chose against. You were trying to prevent Chaz's shot being called. That just made me laugh. So that was basically it.
He would have been insufferable had he called a shot. And as he points out in the chat, he was going to be insufferable anyway. So didn't really matter. Tell you what, a lot of people. First of all, Chaz said, if you manifest, we'll have you on regarding Van Halen 3. I don't know if that's a threat or a promise, but you have to go on the Chaz show, which I tell you what, it's a really good show. It literally takes 6.5 hours to record because Chaz they just go, and then Chaz will put any matter of sound underneath you just to like confuse the senses. It's almost like a war crime listening to that show sometimes, but I absolutely love it. I'm addicted to it. So there you go. But nobody called their shot here tonight. Tom is very happy with the spin. He said, good spin. Chaz says the wheel is rigged again, even though he literally just watched us spin it.
Yeah.
And then
look, you're going to believe what you want. It's fine, Chaz, but we've got the visual aid here, and you saw what happened. It is what it is.
So we're going to Wolfgang Van Halen and his debut record, Mammoth WVH, which he took a lot of shit for because, my God, Wolfie Van Halen takes a lot of shit for everything. Just existing, he takes shit. And it's just unfathomable to me that people are going to reach out and tell this guy First of all, he's apparently coasting on his father's name, even though that's his fucking name, Wolfgang Van Halen. That's coasting on Eddie's coattails somehow. So he decides, you know what? I'm going to call my record Mammoth WVH then. To try there, I'm not coasting on Dad's name, even though it's my name too. Calling it. Then all of a sudden, that was coasting on the Van Halen name too, because one of the first versions of Van Halen was called Mammoth. Well, now you're ripping your dad off again. It's like, how does he fucking win with any of these assholes? And the poor guy has got to spend time like on social media calling these dickheads out. And it's just, I feel really bad for him because he's a super talented dude. And by all accounts, he seems like a really cool guy too. I watched
That's the thing. If he was a terrible musician, if he was just utter garbage, then we could probably have the conversation about nepotism and nepo babies like in entertainment industry. But I mean, there's plenty of those. There's plenty, and there are plenty in just in the music industry itself that you want to have that conversation of people writing their parents' coattails because of the name. We can have that conversation for other people. In no way is it Wolfgang. Not at all. And if you take the time to listen to the music he has been putting out from his either one of his albums or both, you will see that. And you'll hear it right away. You know, he's not playing like his dad. He's not playing like any of those guys from yesteryear. He's playing the way he plays, and you can hear the modern day influences that he likes coming through. He's not doing anything, in my opinion. Is like, I don't hear a shred of Van Halen anything in here, with the exception of maybe when Wolfie, rips a solo. He doesn't sound like Eddie at all, but I mean, just the fast fingers and the technique. It's like, well, of course, that's what Eddie Van Halen would spawn, and just it spawns talent. Like, the kid is talented. He's multi-talented because he doesn't just play guitar and he doesn't just sing. He drums and he does like God knows probably what else that we don't even know. And just so like, leave him alone. Trolls, like all you guys, like shut up. Just like listen to the music. Just listen to the things that he's doing, and you'll see right away there's nothing about his father that he's copying at all. It's him.
Yeah, and he's immensely talented. Like he wrote all these songs. He played every instrument on this record and on the second record for that matter. Just incredible. Like, more talent in his middle finger than I'll ever have, or any of the haters will have in any fucking bone in their body. Just incredible musician. And this is just a song about a kid who misses his dad. Like, fuck you if you have any problem with Wolfie, writing a song like this. And he wrote it when Eddie was still around, just thinking about how much I would miss my dad if he wasn't here. Mm-hmm. And then Eddie passed before this record came out. He just felt it was appropriate to put it on there. And it's a very loving, heartwarming tribute. Have you watched the Behind the Music yet, Mark? With Wolfgang Van Halen?
Not yet.
I
haven't prepared myself for that one.
Very hard to get through. Like, it's very emotional. He's a lot of times he says, this is the first time I'm talking about this. And he talks about it on camera, and just, you feel so bad for the kid because all he wants to do is, live his life. And because he has this love of music. Look at his parents. They're very passionate people. Yeah. Valerie about cooking. By the way, all you fucks at the Food Network can go eat a bag of dicks because they fired her from Kids Baking Challenge. And myself and my kids, we used to watch that show all the time. Valerie.
Why'd they fire her?
Because they're fucking assholes. Food Network can go eat a bag of dicks. Fuck you. Yet they still pay Guy Fieri and his fucking useless twat kid, Hunter Fieri. There's nepotism for you. That kid's as useless as fuck. Right? Coasting on his dad's coattails. Not Wolfgang Van Halen. Let's throw some hate towards Hunter Fieri, for fuck's sakes.
There you go.
Boy, there's a ranting of a maniac. That's not even from you, Jesus. But
or Gordon Ramsay's kids, for that matter. Actually, no, I'm not gonna throw a shot at them because I'm sure they're fine. But it's like, yeah, you want to talk about nepo babies and nepotism? It's like we have other outlets, other directions we can go. It's not Eddie. And here's the thing, just as a final point to that. If you don't like the music he puts out because it's just not your jam, that's fine. That's completely fine. But don't sit there and say, I don't like it because it sounds like he's just ripping off everything his dad does. And it's like, no, you're not listening. You're not giving it a fair listen. If it doesn't meet your criteria of what you like in music, that's fine. That's one thing. But don't use the excuse that well, he's just copying his dad, so I don't like it. I'm like, no, he's not. You're being an asshole.
Yeah.
So don't be an asshole and just enjoy it or don't listen.
So many Van Halen fans resent him too because he toured with Van Halen, right, in 2012, did A Different Kind of Truth, and again in 2015. But they don't seem to realize if it wasn't for Wolfie, there would have been no reunion tour with David Lee Roth or new album in A Different Kind of Truth. It's not because Eddie wanted to play with this kid. And any parent, even if you're not a parent, I think you can understand that, wanting to do something with your child. Like he taught Wolfie how to play the instruments, and that was his way back into music. Was I get to play this with my son? It's the greatest thing ever. I know, it was wrong for Michael and all that kind of stuff, but Eddie just wanted to play with this kid, and I get that. I love Mikey more than anybody. He's one of my favorite parts about Van Halen. But even he was like, I get it. I'd want to play with my kid too. So and it's kind of cool.
We have a lot of our listeners are fans of a different kind of truth, and not huge fans, but we have a few listeners that really enjoy it, and there would be no album if not for Wolfie. So it's like, so if you enjoy it, I really hope you're not one of those people giving him shit, because you owe him a massive apology.
Absolutely. I just want to go to the chat here real quick. Scott Everett joins us again in the chat. Hey, Scott, he says, I hate the jackasses that won't leave him alone with this crap. And then it appears it makes him bitter someone against all the Van Halen fans. And it kind of does. Because when that's the majority of the shit you're taking online is from, David Lee Roth apologists and stuff. Oh, the band sucked when you were in it, and fucking Michael Anthony rules and stuff. And it's like, I just wanted to play bass with my dad. Like, that's not the end of the goddamn world, right?
It's like, people are the worst.
And as Tom points out, it helped Eddie with his sobriety as well. Because everyone remembers 04 Eddie, right? Like, that wasn't the best reunion tour. A lot of different things went wrong on that one. By all accounts, I didn't get to see them. But those two reunion tours with Dave Lee Roth and stuff were fantastic, except for Dave singing. But, the band was cooking, and, like, Wolfie could play those parts and sing the high notes just like Michael Anthony. And so when I think of Wolfgang Van Halen, I think, God bless you, sir, for, giving us another few years of Van Halen goodness. And just for the music you're putting out yourself, because I picked up that first Mammoth WVH record, and the first track was Mr. Ed. And right from the opening riff, I'm like, oh man, this is pretty fucking cool. And then all the way through, I don't know if there's a skipper on the entire record. I don't want to tip my hand too much. There may be, but I was pretty impressed. Then the second record comes out, and you can't see it, but actually just off my thing here is an autographed insert from that record from Mr. Wolfgang Van Halen himself. So a big fan of both those records. Jeff Brewer says Ed probably would have been dead several years earlier if it wasn't for Wolf being there to play with. Amen. I agree totally.
And unfortunately, that's probably accurate.
Yeah. And then Chaz points out, like, now you're taking shit from David Lee Roth, who's putting out these videos saying, oh, the kid, like, fuck off. You
right. Yeah. This poor kid can't catch a break from
anybody.
Any side. Yeah. So it's a wonder he's even like continuing on. So you guys leave him the hell alone so that he can just keep pursuing his own music that he's doing, and he just wants to live in peace. So,
and he's doing pretty well.
Yeah, exactly. So like, leave the kid be. All right.
Yeah.
Like I said, if you don't like the music he's writing and putting out there, then just don't listen to it.
Yeah.
It takes nothing to, zip your lips or keep your typing fingers still.
Exactly. And, he toured with Metallica. He's currently on right now, touring with Metallica. He did a tour with the Foo Fighters. He's touring with some of the biggest bands in the world. GNR, he did some shows with. So
he's earned his cred.
He is killing it right now. Yeah, he's starting to do some solo shows. I know Nita Strauss was opening for him on some solo shows. I am just hoping and praying he might, do a few more dates a little closer to the middle of nowhere, Canada, where I live, because I'd love to go see him. I originally had tickets for Metallica at Edmonton, where Wolfie was going to play with Mammoth. Had to give them up because we're going to Toronto instead to see Sammy. But hopefully someday, Mammoth might come to my neck of the woods here, and I'll get to watch him, because I love Mammoth WVH. He's fucking killing it right now. But
fingers crossed. I hope that happens. So what do you say we get into this?
It's going to be a tough song to get through potentially here, because it's a little little sad. So this is from Wolfgang Van Halen and Mammoth WVH. This is a song called Distance.
better for you than this rock we're living on. I'm so nervous, don't know my place. A life without you, I'm not ready to move on.
It's gonna be tough one to get through.
Oof. That hits you like right in the heart, just like immediately.
Yep.
I was reading this little article you pulled out, and it had mentioned that this was not supposed to be a song put on the record. Like that was supposed to be for a later time, but because of circumstances, like, well, I guess later is now, and that had to be. I'm just trying to think of. I'm listening to how he sounds, and I'm trying to kind of put myself in that headspace of, how did you even sing this, dude? Like, how did you get into that booth? And maybe, for all I know, he told the producer, he told everybody, he's like, I'll press the buttons, just like, I need you out, like, so I can do this. I would not be surprised if he was, if he had to go like somewhere solitary and lay these tracks down. I might have to, like, if I'm in that position, that might have to be my the only way I could do it, if I can get through it at all. But he sounds like remarkably like strong and confident in his singing. Like there's no other than like his natural vibrato, like there's no like shakiness or some sort of like, I'm going to end this note way early because the breath flow is not coming, because I'm, sucking in air, trying to prevent myself from weeping, which would be understandable. But I really like the lyrics on this. And yeah, it's a kind of a precursor to, it's going to get heavier from here. Just not musically not heavy, but just like content wise heavy.
Yeah. In terms of how he's performing it, I think the fact he recorded this before Eddie's passing probably helped in that regard. Performing it now.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. If anyone's seen Mammoth WVH live now, I imagine it's a little tougher. I know in the Behind the Music special, Wolfie says at the end of every show, he kind of points up at the sky and just says, there's another one that doesn't suck, or kind of points at his, up to his dad. But I know
shout out
in a few different interviews, he talked about playing it for Eddie, actually. He says, quote, I remember when I showed it to Dad for the first time. Maybe it was out of pride or also just the song in general. He cried when he heard it. And I don't think he was aware of the significance of it for me. He just understood it as a song about loss, which everybody, unfortunately, has experienced loss. And I know there's a few of our friends in the chat talking about, Scott saying, I only listen to the song once a year when talking about his dad's passing, or David Lassiter. Same thing with his brother passing. And, we all have those moments where a song like this really kind of resonates. And songs about loss are very hard, because that's a very human experience, losing someone. So that's why, to spin this first, it's season 4. It's like, it's kind of appropriate as the bridge from the Van Halen catalog to the solo stuff. However, a difficult song to get through, because
difficult. Yeah. So I underestimated the difficulty of this one. I was like, ugh, this one, I think you're right. This one's going to be tough, but we persevere, and it is our job to analyze and discuss. So we shall.
Let's get back to her then.
No matter what the distance is, I will be with you. No matter what the distance is, you'll be okay. I'm so tired. Can't see your face. A memory of you slowly fades when I go on. I'm still crying. Don't want this place. A world
All right, just real quick, Josh in the chat pointed out that the production is on point, and he's absolutely correct.
Yeah.
This is a great sounding record. Love all the production on this one. The producer of this one is actually a fellow who did a lot of the Alter Bridge stuff, Michael Elvis Basquette. And Wolfie played with Alter Bridge. So there was kind of a connection there, but it was recorded at 5150, where Wolfgang kind of records all the stuff. But yeah, it sounds absolutely tremendous.
Sometimes when a certain producer does an album, you can tell it's them based on just, I mean, like little subtle things. You have to be really clued in unless it's like blatantly obvious. Like, but yeah, I was thinking that I didn't know the guy who's worked with Alter Bridge did this album. But it makes sense because based on what I'm hearing out of this track, it sound like the sound sonically, it sounds like it would be in the same room, let's say, with the Alter Bridge guys, just based on how that sounds. So to me, I go like, oh, okay, cool. Then I recognize this is the same producer. I can identify the familiarity sonically on how this is structured versus like a band like Alter Bridge. There's very few producers that can put their like personal stamp on it to where you hear it and you go, oh well, that's clearly so and so. You know, there's like, oh, that's Ted Templeman. I can hear the Templeman flair. You know, something like that.
Mm-hmm. It doesn't sound like classic rock, which is an aspect I really appreciate. It doesn't sound like Van Halen would. But it sounds like stuff that influenced Wolfgang, like Alter Bridge or Hailstrom or even Blink-182. I think he said Enema of the State was one of his favorite records. Like some of those, what I consider newer influences because I'm super fucking old, but are actually super fucking old. Foo Fighters is another really good one. You really get that kind of influence in a track like this, which I thought was really kind of cool. I'm an old guy. You know, I still will pop on my classic rock as opposed to listen to anything new. Mammoth WVH is one of the few new things I'll listen to religiously because it's that good.
Look, I'm also, well, I'm less old, but still feel like an old guy. And the classic rock now is the stuff I was listening to as a kid. So we'll take that for what it's worth. So we're all listening to we're in the classic rock era of our youth. It's like, oh God.
Yep.
Give me a cyanide capsule.
Tom points out the harmonies on the song. And of course, that's all Wolfie. Like, Wolfie did everything on this record himself. He played all the instruments, did all the vocals, co-produced the record. Like it's all him. It's all his vision and stuff. Which I
was wondering if those backing vocals were him doing the oh.
Yeah, I believe they're
because it sounds like him. So I assumed.
Yep. Chaz thinks it sounds like Foo Fighters. I just did a whole podcast covering the first 20 years of Foo Fighters. I don't go there personally. I wonder if Kevin does. I think Kevin was in the chat earlier. I don't get a Foo Fighters vibe just because there's a little more interesting musically things happening in this song than there were on a lot of Foo Fighters stuff. We talked about, for me, you have 3 guitar players in the Foo Fighters, and they're all playing the same thing a lot of the time. It's all like the same frequency. It's just this wall of guitars where if you had all 3 doing different things and creating some separation, it's a little more interesting. I'm getting a little more separation and more interest out of a track like this.
I hear what you're saying, but to their point, I do the way I guess some of the guitar parts are structured kind of give a little Foo Fighters flair to it. So I think maybe that's what they're referring to. But yeah, because to me, I kind of hear it as well. But to your point, yeah, that he's doing a lot more intricately with the structure than say Dave and the boys would. But so it's a yes and.
Well, Kevin Brown agrees with you. He says, I can sort of hear where Chaz is coming from melodically, especially on the later albums. Later albums, sure. Like I said, we just covered the first 20 years. If we're talking about Medicine After Midnight or the new record, then absolutely. I'm a little more on board with it then. So
Fair enough.
All right, let's go back to being sad.
No matter what the distance is, I will be with you. No matter what the distance is, I will be with you. No matter what the distance is, I will be with you. No matter what the distance is, you'll be okay. No matter what the distance is, I will be with you. No matter what the distance is, I will be with you. No matter what the distance is, I will be with you. No matter what the distance is,
All right, what did you think of that section?
Wolfie's a big fan of this band called Intervals, and they're instrumental. They don't have the vocals, but they're all instrumentals. But they're like very kind of experimental metal, and then like kind of groovy, like kind of funk groovy at the same time. Very cool band. They do a lot of kind of like effects on their high notes on their guitar, and when I hear him do that on this song, we're like, it's like really high up there. I was like, okay. I hear the interval influence you got there on their Wolfie. So that's very cool. It's not what I would have or what anyone probably would have expected on this part of the song. The way the song is kind of structured and the way it flows, you might not have expected it to go in that direction per se. Like maybe like a simple, blues solo, something like a A minor scale or something like that. I don't know what key the song is in, so don't come after me. But no, he doesn't do that. Instead, he busts out into what's happening, kind of like little modern day guitar work. And it's cool. It gives you, so the song to me feels like a flair of old school meets his modern day influence, and then of course just Wolfie being Wolfie, and it all coming together in this sort of like amalgamation, and it's very, very, very cool, very powerful. I think
very emotional.
Yes,
which you don't expect like a big shredding guitar solo there, and we didn't get one, which is kind of cool. But you can kind of see that
exactly.
Wolfie's like, the rhythm part down, and just I'll put a solo over top of that. When you kind of get in the emotion of the song, he's like, I just want to fucking wail here, and just really go on that.
Exactly. Yeah. He almost makes his guitar kind of sound like it's like wailing, like crying.
Yeah.
And that fits the context of the song. So I don't know on a personal level, but I have to imagine if he's got just even a trace of the virtuoso guitar musical brain that Eddie had, because everything just is very this feels like it was very thought out, and like he put a lot of if not time, definitely a lot of effort into making this sound a certain way. So I feel like that was very intentional. Like that's what he's kind of going for, is as my guitar not gently weeps, very loudly weeps, because of the context. Very smart. I believe that's an intentional flex, but if I'm wrong, then hey, what a happy accident.
Yep. I just want to go to the chat real quick, because a few people are chiming in saying it's very Foo. Chaz says it's very Foo, the lyrical structure. Jeff Burr says reminds me of Foo Fighters. Here's where they're both fucking wrong, because the lyrical structure of this is better than what you get from a Foo Fighter song. And I'm a Foo Fighters fan, but I just did an entire podcast on the first 20 years of the Foo Fighters. And
you're just over it at this point. You're just over it.
Potentially. But, and Tom points out, he says, I'm thinking about the repetition discussions in Ultimate Catalog Clash, because that was our big thing with Dave. He just repetition, especially in his choruses here. And you kind of have that here, but he varies the way he sings it. And that's what makes it distinct. Whereas Dave doesn't do that. Right? And someone's giving the best of you, and he'll do that over and over and over again. It's the exact same way. Listen to that section, no matter what the distance is, I will be with you. And as he goes on, it gets more intense. It's that variance that elevates it from what we normally get from the Foo Fighters. That's why, Chaz and Jeff, I've been waiting all year to say this. You're wrong. Oh, they're going to come after me now. I can't wait.
Oh, man. Speaking of passionate, no one's more passionate than Corey Morissette.
But I tell you what, Kevin Brown says it does remind him melodically and in terms of arrangement of a band named Paramore. Do you know Paramore? I don't really know them.
Not only do I know Paramore, they're from here. So I'm very familiar. Fun fact, my old drummer almost had the opportunity to be their drummer, and then he didn't. And he, I think, kicks himself to this day for not taking that gig, but that's neither here nor there. It's something I like to laugh about. Actually, there was a Paramore tribute show that was done in here not that long ago, and my fiance was part of that show. I was just an audience member enjoying it. I'm very familiar with Paramore. Do I agree with the assessment that, who said this? Kevin Brown said this?
Did, yeah.
This is why Kevin Brown is fucking wrong. So no. No, I don't have that much passion for it. I will say, maybe in that solo section, I could hear a little bit of some later Paramore. Then again, this might be a thing. Like Kev's got a daughter who I'm assuming probably jams Paramore on the regular, so he's got it in his brain whether he wants it there or not. I can kind of hear what you're talking about, Kevin, although I would say you guys were more right on the Corey, cover your ears. You're more right on the Foo Fighters comparison than I think Paramore, but that's just my opinion.
I mean, there's elements of Foo Fighters, but it definitely does remind me of, because I think this is a little more elevated than what, and there's some great, I gave so many 10-10-5s on my Foo Fighter season, like perfect scores for songs, because I love them so much, but I can appreciate what Wolfgang's doing here more than what Dave normally does.
Fair enough.
There's definitely some, and I only rag on Jeff and Chaz because they can take it. And actually, Chaz is so crazy that he says, Josh and I will meet you in the parking lot. It wasn't Josh that was on your side, it was Jeff. So he can't even he can't even like get his ally right. And then Jeff had to say, I said it reminded me of the Foos. I didn't say it wasn't as good. That's fair enough. I'm just kind of giving you grief because you fell on the Chaz Charles side of things, which is not a place normally anybody wants to be. All right, let's keep it rocking. Just real quick, lyrically, just how great is that? It's no matter what the distance is, you'll be okay. So it's almost like, you know what, like I'm going through all this because I miss you, but you know what, no matter what the distance is, I will be with you. You're almost like trying to appease the person you lost. And that's a different way of looking at a song like this. Normally it's like, you know, here's what I'm feeling because I miss you. This is like, you know what, no matter what the distance is, I'm still with you. No matter what the distance is, you're going to be okay. Lyrically, that's such a great little spin on it that you don't normally get in a song like this.
That is true. Yeah, I agree. And it just again, with the context of how we listen to this now, as opposed to what it was when he wrote it. Still, I mean, not far off. I mean, obviously, like this was, you know, kind of for his dad, but I mean, with the context of you know, Eddie's passing, and then you hear that chorus, you know, it feels like the chorus is Eddie responding to Wolfie's, like, in the verses he's explaining like how he feels about what's going on, and he's like, he's not sure if it's, you know, worth continuing, and it's like, and then you have Eddie responding like, hey, no matter what the distance is, like, I'm with you and you'll be okay.
Okay, so you take that as the subject talking back to the singer.
Yeah,
that's kind of cool. I kind of saw it differently, but yeah, it's cool that we each took two different slants on it there.
Yeah, and then I mean, and also I think at some point, maybe even in this current chorus we're listening to, or maybe later, it turns in. It kind of feels like it turns into more less a response from, you know, from someone else or from Eddie in this regard, and more of like, this is Wolfie's mantra that he's saying to himself. Yeah. You know, it's just like, I'm with you, and you'll be okay. And then it's like, especially the you'll be okay part. I feel like the you'll be okay is definitely directed towards himself. It's like, you'll be okay. Like, you will be okay. You'll go on, and, you know, it's like, he's still with us. He's not gone. He's not really gone, especially if I keep playing music and keep, you know, holding his spirit in here, then like, he's never really gone. So it doesn't matter how far we go to the ends of the earth and back, you know, it's like, and I'll be okay. So yeah, to me, I feel like the line "you'll be okay" for sure is reflective.
You know what? And I don't want to speak for the man, obviously, but I wonder if he is yet okay, because, you know, it's been so long since Eddie's passed, but he's still, like, you watch that behind the music, and you could see just the pain and the torture that, you know, he just misses his dad. And, you know, he still tweets every once in a while, like, "Pops, I wish you were here," and things like that. It just it rips your heart out. So, you'll be okay. but it takes a long time sometimes.
Well, sure. I mean, I'm speaking. I haven't, lost a parent yet or anything, but I've had loss, but I can imagine that he'll be okay, but you're never fully gonna be okay. Especially if you have a closeness with a family member like that. It's just like and that's his dad, and he was who he was and everything, and it's like, yeah, I'll be okay. I'll move on. Like I can do this. I can keep going, but like you ask, is he okay? Whatever. It's like, well, he'll never be 100% okay.
And that's why he doesn't say I'll be good. He says I'll be okay. Yeah. Like not good. Not
I'll be okay. Yeah. He's just like, he's not saying I'm going to be great. He's just like, I'm going to be fantastic. I'm going to be absolutely just the shit. And like, no, he's saying I'll be okay, which means I can carry on. I can get out of bed. I can go a day probably where I'm not feeling bummed out, but there's always going to be that piece of me that's never going to fully heal. Yeah. And that's life and loss.
Exactly. And like, his career is like taken off, right? He just released the second album. It was a hit, touring all over the world. He performed on the Oscars. He got married just recently. Like everything's going pretty good.
Yeah.
I just want to point out,
but I have to imagine though, like even the further into the fame he gets though, and the bigger, his name and his music carries on, it's probably going to get harder. Just by the nature of what he's doing and
Scott Monroe in the chat, as you were explaining what you thought about the chorus, was chiming in to agree with you. He says it's also ambiguously lyrically, as the chorus could be coming. It's also ambiguous lyrically, as the chorus could be coming from the voice of the person who has passed. Exactly what you were saying. And Jeff Brewer chimes in and agrees, says, yes, Scott, definitely could be a call and response between Wolf in the verse and Ed in the chorus. Never thought about that. And I never had to until you brought it up, Mark. So I think you may have turned me on that one too.
But it's not regulated to just the one thing, the one perspective, like it's many. And that, my friends, is good writing.
It's the sign of a pretty good fucking dude. And Dan in the chat says, I've lost a father I was close with. A part of you doesn't want the pain to fade, otherwise it feels like it wasn't important. Does that make sense? Answer perfectly.
Oof.
Yes, that totally makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. It really does. I mean, in a not so exciting way, like, yeah, unfortunately that does make sense because it's like that's perspective for you.
Yeah. Yep. Well said. All right, let's finish this one off before everyone starts crying.
Indeed, we did. And that place is first off of the wheel, the new wheel for the new iteration of the show. There you go. Distanced by Mammoth WVH, Wolfie himself, kicking us off and kicking us right in the heart.
Kicking us right in the balls
of our heart.
Oh, my goodness.
just going full at it. But as you say, it's kind of a poetic bridge from our last show to this one.
A little bit.
Even if it's sad poetry, but sometimes poetry is sad, you guys. It's not all Star Wars where it's all and happy. No, I'm just kidding. Nobody's happy with Star Wars ever at all.
Ever.
At any time.
You can't like anything about Star Wars.
Yep. No, it's anyway, sorry. I'm not going on that rant. We'll save that for another day if you guys want it. But instead, I'm going to throw it to my podcasting partner. I'm pretty sure I know how this is going to go. But Corey, was distance from Mammoth WVH what dreams are made of, or is the dream, or actually, no, let me rephrase that. Did it fall with its dick in the dirt for you, or was distance for you just like paradise, or is its dick in the dirt?
This must be just like living in paradise.
You know what? It's a weird little clip to be playing after listening to Distance, but yeah. I really love this song. I always have. I remember when it came out. I remember when Ed passed, and they released the song and the video, which a lot of people in the chat right now are talking about the video. No crying unless you play the video. That will break everyone down. The video is just heart-wrenching. I don't have the strength tonight to watch the video, but it's all just old movies of Wolfgang and his dad, and it's just, how could you not? But I mean, we have to grade this as a song too, right? So lyrically, I thought it was absolutely fantastic. I'm so happy you found a place that's not on this fucking cursed rock that we're all on. And, no matter what the distance is, whichever way you look at it, whether he's telling the person who's passed you'll be okay, or if the person who's passed is telling the singer you'll be okay, it's absolutely fantastic. I love it both ways. Musically, I thought it was fantastic. I love, like, in that musical section, you expect some sort of solo, and you're just kind of going to get this raw emotion of just like you said, just that one, just kind of on that one string is just like he's just like screaming into the void. Like, how could you take this person away from me? Like, it's just so emotional. And sorry, Dad, he says this definitely gets an upvote, but Just Like Paradise isn't the right sound drop this week. I know, but that's the voting system. I had to play it. Gee whiz. And I may have to play it again. Forgive us, but Distance is fantastic. It's absolutely brilliant. I love it. Mark Kameyer, I'll have to play the clip if you agree, but is its dick squarely in the dirt, or do you think Distance is Just Like Paradise?
Well, we can only hope for the guitar legend himself that he's living in paradise at this point. But as for the rest of us on Earth, what we have is this beautiful ballad of emotion and sadness, but optimism as well. This is just a well-written song, man. It doesn't matter even if this wasn't Wolfie, like, just whomever would write this. It's just a very cool, very emotional, powerful little kind of a sad ballad, it's a tribute is what it is. It's a tribute to someone who had a very important part in the songwriter's life. And it turns out, it's father and son, and that's what it is. That's what it became something else, but it's still at the heart of it is a story about a son, communicating with his father, if you will, like however that looks, communicating in some way. And like I said, with the optimism, just knowing that this is kind of the final chapter of our relationship, but it's not really, because you're still going to be in my heart. Like, I'm still, no matter how far I go, no matter how far you go, wherever you go, I still feel you here, and I'm still with you. You know what? You'll be okay. And whomever that it's for, if that's a self assurance of you're going to be okay, self, or if it's the responder saying you'll be okay no matter what, and or vice versa. It's with the context of what this song is about, it's all that much more powerful. But even without the context, just if you're just listening to this just as a song, you didn't know anything about what was happening, Wolfie paints a very clear picture for you, and he does it very smartly. And because again, like we discussed, there you can take this in different perspectives. You can look at it this way, you can look at it this way, and that, as I said, I think that's the mark of a good songwriter, when you can do that, when you can you're not tricking the audience, you're just giving the audience time to breathe, sit with the song, and feel. Because that's what Wolfie's doing here. This is all feeling, this is all emotion. I echo everything Corey said. Kind of a weird start to the new iteration of the show, but it absolutely is fitting no matter what. And I'm actually kind of really glad we spun this, because this is a really, really good song. Yeah. Just like Living in Paradise. We're just going to eat this one up, man. So
just like Eddie, Living in Paradise. There you go.
Absolutely.
Kevin Brown had to point out. Yeah. Kevin Brown had to point out, though, one of the most tender songs we're going to cover. And the first thing Mark has to ask is, does it fall with its dick in the dirt? So, that seems like a very us thing, doesn't it, Mark? That
Look, this is what we chose. Okay, like these are the the song choices we chose. So we kind of have to you take with the good with the bad, and what is it? Facts of life.
Yep.
I'll never learn it. It's funnier if I don't.
But Dan
yes.
pointed out in the chat, he says, oh, he's given me a challenge. He said, you got the Spinal Tap sound drop, too much perspective. I don't have that one. That's the one Spinal Tap drop I don't have. Oh, I got to get that for next week now. There's too much fucking perspective.
You'll get. I believe in you. I believe in you. You'll get it. But
thank you.
Yeah, but hey, look, man, it is what it is, and oh boy, we're gonna play this game.
Why not? It's season 4. Let's do it. It's time to play. How many times has Mammoth WVH played the song "Distance"? Now, Mark Kamara accidentally brought it up on our screen real quick. Hopefully, you didn't look. Hopefully you didn't see the number.
I swear.
Okay,
I swear I didn't. Not this time. Not this time.
All right, so we'll open this up to our friends in the chat too. You got a few seconds here. Type in your guess. Remember, no cheating. We're not a Chaz Charles show. Everything's by the book here. And Scott Everett,
I can't even see what the YouTubers or the chats even saying right now. So,
and by the way, Scott Everett he must be the same age as me. I'm turning 50 in a month. But he knows the quote, you take the good, you take the bad, you take them both, and there you have the facts of life. That's right. All right. Guesses are coming in. Scott Monroe says 150 times. Kevin Brown says 61 times. Tom Armbruster tries to get around the answer by saying however many shows they've done. That's almost like Cliff Clavin on Jeopardy when it was given the final Jeopardy answer, and it was 3 names. What do they have in common? He said, who are 3 people who've never been in my kitchen? That doesn't work on Jeopardy. It doesn't work on our show, Tom. Dan says 76. Scott Everett says 151. Scott Everett just to fuck up Scott Monroe. The Scots are feuding here, 151, 150. So right now, the high bid is 150. The low bid is 61. Mark Kamara, how many times do you think Mammoth WVH performed Distance?
As good as a song as it is, I feel with the implications of what it's about and how it probably performed, I would imagine he probably doesn't play it every single show, but maybe he does. That would be hard for me. So, we'll start not too high, not too. I will say 45 times. 45
times? So you're going low. Okay.
Yeah, I'm going real low.
All right. Well, Dan Papadopoulos says 76. I mentioned that. Scott Everett 151. Chaz Charles says 88. So I guess I would have to go with Scott Everett. At 151, he's going to be our winner tonight. Mammoth WVH has performed this 216 times.
Good God. Okay, never mind.
216. Not their most played song, though. That's actually Don't Back Down at 262. Sure. Distance was played the 4th most times, though, by Wolfie and the boys in the band. 216 times. So, Scott Monroe, you just lost out by one play. By 1 gig, you lost out. Scott Everett played the percentages, he played the game, and he's our winner tonight. He wins nothing but bragging rights. So congratulations, Scott Everett.
We assumed that it was honest and legit. You didn't Google. But yeah, kudos to you. Next time, I'm just going to guess way, way high. It depends on who we spin, actually.
The question from Dan is how many shows has Mammoth played? I'm going to guess because Don't Back Down was 262. I'm going to guess 262. So imagine they played that one every single time. So
yeah, exactly. So all right, well, there you have it. Mark loses the Price is Right game right off the bat. Who saw that coming? I did.
Shocking.
Everyone did.
I know. Yeah.
Shocking. Yeah, I'm not good at this game, but that just lets you guys know that I haven't been cheating. And I can't, it's kind of difficult to do that without getting caught. But I am not one of those. I make my guesses as they come along. So, with that being said, you guys, it's a new format, new kinks to work out. So a little bit longer this time around, but it's no biggie. We know that you guys appreciate us regardless, even when we rant. Apparently you guys like it when we rant, or at least when I rant. And you say that now, but until I start doing it full time, again, you might change your mind. But yeah, that's what Corey and I do. We had a lot to say tonight, and lots to get excited for the new iteration of the show. So thank you for your patience, and thank you for your listens. So we hope you will continue the show with us some more. By the way, you can find us at podcastwillrock.com. All the links to the socials are there. Links to the merch store. Get yourself some merch. I'm sure we'll have some new designs pretty soon for you. But go ahead and take a look at what we got already. There's still lots to choose from. A lot of fun stuff. I want to see just an army of you out there in the wild wearing these shirts without even knowing that we're there. And also all the backlogged episodes from the first iteration of And the Podcast Will Rock. I know we have some newer listeners who are getting caught up. If you need to know where to find it, like if I don't know if somehow for whatever reason the podcasting streaming services kind of go then go to podcastwillrock.com and we've got them all there for you. So it's more than one way to find it. Also, now to get to the shout outs for the patrons. That's right. We've had we couldn't do this show without you guys. So big shout out to, of course, our favorite people in the world, Matt Lacoste, Nate from the Deep Purple Pod, Rava Flav, Josh Caldwell, Greg Zito, Michael Griffith, Chaz Charles, Sean McGinnity, Kevin Brown, Per Lineker, Scott Monroe, Ryan Powell, Jeff Brewer, Tom Armbruster, Scott Everett, Heath McCoy, Janice Risco, Brad Gould, Davey Lee Smith, Chad Pollock, Brett Parker, Jeff Fisher, Scott Haskin, John Drake, Connor Burton, Rabbi Evid Bana, Jay Steyer, Dan Papathopoulos, and Torben Anderson. Thank you all so much for staying on track with us, man. It's awesome. It's great stuff. You know what also is some great stuff? We are part of an awesome network of tremendous rock-based podcasts over at the Deep Dive Podcasting Network. There's so many to choose from. If you like what we do remotely, you might enjoy some of these other shows. Corey, let them know what they can expect at the Deep Dive Podcasting Network.
And I should mention, Mark, we have two new patrons, David Lassiter and Dwayne Hoffman. Thank you very much for your support. Don't be left out in the cold. Join Dwayne and Dave and come join us on the And the Podcast Will Rock Patreon group. You get access to the Discord server. You get to watch us record this train wreck every single week. You get it a few days early before the listening public. So, and you know what? Mark will sing your answering machine message. He'll come mow your lawn in his jorts and sing you some tunes while he does it. All sorts of perks on the Patreon.
That might not be a perk, but it's still fun.
I had to keep one thing from the first few seasons of Mark, and that is this. I'm just kidding, motherfucker. We're going to read the pod roll to Panama, because why the fuck wouldn't I? First of all, Mark Kamara, have you ever asked yourself who's the better lyricist, Sammy Hagar or David Lee Roth?
All the time.
That's right. A lot of people have, and we're going to determine once and for all who the better lyricist is on season 1 of Rock Court, coming soon to a podcast player near you. Kevin Brown is the rock tourney for Mr. Sammy Hagar. Our old friend Heath McCoy is the rock tourney for David Lee Roth. We have our jury picked. Opening statements have been read. We're trying the case as we speak. Coming soon, you'll get to hear the entire first season of Rock Court. Who is the better lyricist? David Lee Roth or Sammy Hagar? Stay tuned for that one. That's going to be a lot of fun. Then, of course, we have myself and Kevin Brown at the Ultimate Catalog Clash. We just finished Foo Fighters. Actually, Mark Kamara is going to help us wrap that up officially as we record tomorrow night. We're going to talk a little Skin and Bones. Looking forward to that one. But the season 4 band has been picked, and it's Dire Straits. So that should be an interesting. You're laughing, Mark. Why are you laughing?
I am just thrilled and excited to hear what that's even going to sound like.
Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait. And then, of course, Kevin Brown does the Tom Petty Project, currently working his way through Wildflowers. Great season there. Check it out. And then Kevin Brown and Randy Woods do Seaside Pod Review. They should just call it Podcast Thieves, because his entire shtick and format stolen from us, including now the top 5 tweets he's stolen as well. So check that out. We'll see what else he steals from us next week on his damn show. Then we have Scott Haskin at Uriah Heath, the Magicians Podcast, and the Haskin Cast. Nate and John at the Deep Purple Podcast. The Simple Man at Skinner Reconsidered. Terry T-Bone Mathley at T-Bone's Prime Cuts. Rye at Sabbath Bloody Podcast. Paul Joan David at In the Lap of the Pods. Andy and Mac at Hawk Binge. Eric and Jonathan at Maiden A to Z. Daniel and Josh at Diary of the Madmen, the Ultimate Aussie Podcast. Ben and Sam at Universally Speaking, the Red Hot Chili Peppers Podcast. George and Hattie at the Judas Priest Cast. Clay and Rye at North by South Podcast. Greg and Jonathan at So Far, So Pod, So What? Quinn at Volume for All. Sav, Nick, Steve, and Mark at the Rock Roulette. I'll do that one again. Stav, Nick, Steve, and Mark at the Rock Roulette Podcast. Chaz and Greg at Regarding Lulu. Chaz and Schatz at Rush Rash. Chaz and Wolfie at Regarding Roger Waters. Chaz, Wolfie, and Scott at, or Scotzo, I think they call him, at Regarding Van Halen 3. Then we have the Rewind to 1984 podcast, the Sean Geek and Fast Fret podcast, just celebrating 500 pods. Not that long ago. Go check them out. One of the best podcasts on the airwaves today. Then we have the DLR cast, the Bogus Otis Show. Shout out to my buddies at the Bogus Otis Show. Thank you very much for being so accommodating at the Sammy Hagar Show. Then we have Booked on Rock with the legendary Eric Senich. You're All Doomed, a Friday the 13th podcast. Spinning the Wheel podcast, Dissect That Film. Three's Company Tour Rewatch podcast. The Nerf Herder Council. Talking Into Infinity, which is a Dream Theater show. And, of course, Pot of Thunder, the recognized symbol of excellence in rock and roll podcasting. And Tom in the chat says, too much Chaz. I agree, Chaz. Please reduce your output by at least 40%, because people just can't take that much Chaz.
Too much Chaz. That sounds like
too much Chaz will kill you. It sounds like a Brian May song.
It's like, I got too much Chaz.
Oh man, it burns when I pee. I got too much Chaz. I got you.
That's what. Oh god, that's gonna be a new slang for a venereal disease. It's like, you got Chaz. Like,
I got all these pimples on my ass. I got too much.
Sorry, Chaz. That's not gonna do well for your rep, man.
Rep.
Try not to. Pardon the pun. We'll try not to spread that around.
Well played, sir. Well played.
No promises, but I can promise you guys this. As we go forward, it's going to get more fun, more entertaining, more surprising, I guarantee, because there's so much we cannot predict, we cannot expect. We're just here along for the ride, just like you guys. Join us. Keep joining us for this journey as we continue forward. We thank you for sticking with us if you're an OG, and we thank you if you're a new G listening to us. There's never a bad time to join, but remember to tell your friends. And if you like, give us a good rating, or all the things where it's supposed to be important that you do that in order to grow the show. Help us grow the show. Just let people know that, hey, these guys, they talked about Van Halen for a while, and now they're talking about Sammy Solo, David Solo, Extreme, Mammoth WVH, and more. Be on the lookout for that. We've got lots of exciting stuff coming down the line. On behalf of Corey and myself, we are, and the podcast will rock, and we will rock you later.